You've got questions?
We've got answers.
Tune in Tuesdays at noon on Facebook Live and Insta Live, where we will be hosting a variety of subjects with our community experts.
Hi, this is Annette. Join us next week when our topic will be about survivor's guilt.
See you there.
And I believe we might already be live right now.
Oh, here. Well, let me fix my lips and finish that off. Hi, everyone.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give it a second because I know there is a delay on Facebook, so we'll just give this a quick second so people can kind of jump in because I did not even get the notification yet. Here we go.
Okay. Double check.
And here we go. All right, let me put down the volume. Well, first, let me say hi, everyone. Welcome to Tip Tuesday. It's Jillian.
And Michelle. And
Annette.
Annette.
Happy birthday, by the way, Annette.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here on your birthday.
On your birthday, very special day.
Very happy to have you. Absolutely. And I'm sorry if I jump. Sometimes it's a delay. That's the only reason if I jump on your word. So I'll make sure I do a little pause. Well, I gotta tell you, for those of you who don't know who Annette is, besides the fact that it's her birthday and we love her, Annette has been our special guest all month. And she has been such a wealth of information. It's been really tremendous, Annette, having you. Annette, just so you're absolutely welcome. Thank you. Just so everyone knows, Annette Tello is an MS. She's an amazing counselor, cancer survivor specialist, life coach, author, artist. She's had her own journey with cervical cancer. Annette specializes in working with cancer patients and survivors. She helps them move forward in their lives with her signature personalized programming called Thriving After Surviving. And that is what Beautiful Self is all about. So we are just so happy. We couldn't be more thrilled to have you with us. And today we're going to be talking about a subject, and we were actually chatting before we went live, that's very, very near and dear to me, and that is survivor's guilt. And this is something that I feel heavily, so I'm excited to talk about it. But before we dig in deep, let's always ask Michelle, who's over there, the Wizard of Oz. She is Oz behind the curtain, running everything. Michelle, do we have any housekeeping we need to do?
We absolutely always do. I like to just preface this with, you can find all the information that we are sharing with you today on our website. So I'm going to screen share so you can get a preview of what that looks like. If you go to our website, there is an outreach with Annette section. You click on Annette Tello right there. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
I can see
there
it.
We go. We're gonna try. There we go. We click on Annette Tello, and this is Annette's page, ways that you can get in contact with Annette. And there is her complimentary consultation calendar, where you would click on a specific date, and Annette is going to give you herself for 50 minutes. At least a little under an hour of a consult with Annette, so you can talk to her privately if you have any questions or any issues that you want to discuss. And also there is the Ask Annette private line, and then our past shows that have been on Facebook and also that are on SoundCloud. You can find them there. So please visit our website to find out more and see more about Annette.
Awesome. So are we ready?
Yes.
Ready.
All right, let's do it. Ask Annette.
Annette.
I love it. All right, Annette, here we go.
Okay.
So, there's definitely more attention of being paid to survivorship, right? That side of cancer, which is a beautiful thing to say. But there's still something that is very it's not really spoken that much about. And I think it's often very misunderstood. And that is survivor guilt. And there's many, many layers to it. I know you have a lot of information to give us. I'm excited about that. So I just want to kind of start off by saying there's a lot of pressure once you're labeled a survivor to kind of get back to your old normal in this kind of this new self, right? Because we look the way we do and we look seemingly healthy.
Right.
People think, oh, we're back to where we were before your journey with cancer started, right? And the truth is, though, we may have come back with a lot more anxiety. We don't enjoy going out as much. We're hesitant to make plans because honestly, we don't know how we're going to feel that day. I mean, I can't wear heels anymore because tacks will damage my feet. It's like all these things. We're still a work in progress even 5 years later, and our minds and bodies aren't the same. And then we feel guilty for that. And then you take all the well-meaning people around us, Annette, our friends, our family, our supporters, and they kind of look at us and they're like, well, treatment is over. You're going to feel so much better if you just come out with me tonight, or come on out dancing, or come on, let's go for a drink. And you're like, no, I'm not going to feel better. And please, you don't want to say stop asking me, but it's actually more stressful because everyone wants you to get back to normal. So how do we, speak to people who mean well, but after treatment really don't understand what we're going through and kind of really push us into places we're not comfortable, which only makes us feel more guilty over the fact that we've changed? The big question, sorry.
So, so the question is, I'm going to first do an overview just briefly, and then I'll answer your question. But basically, survivor's guilt is believing that it's unfair that you survived something that others didn't. That's basically what it is. And their survivor's guilt is actually a mental health condition that is as a symptom of PTSD, and it's for people who've had traumatic experiences and maybe in combat or mass shootings. So, but you can definitely feel survivor's guilt in after cancer because people do get diagnosed with PTSD after having cancer because it's such a traumatic experience. So I want people to understand, if you're feeling irritable, you can't sleep, you're unmotivated, you have physical symptoms like headaches, stomach aches, heart palpitations. If you're feeling that, I want people to not hesitate to get help, because there's professional help and it's very treatable. So I don't want people to suffer with that if it's to that extent, without getting the help they need. So that being said, when we talk about the everyday kind of run-of-the-mill survivor's guilt, I really want people to understand that sometimes what we're feeling is not actually guilt, but it's you feel guilty. But if you take a moment and ask yourself, what is triggering this guilt? Like, what thought or event triggered it? And then connect with the feeling, because nobody wants to feel guilty. Feeling guilty is such an ugly and uncomfortable feeling. So what we tend to do is, when we feel guilty, we just push it down, right? Because nobody wants to feel guilty, because when you feel guilty, you can't really do much about it. So we just push it down and try to just forget about it. But if you take a moment and feel the guilt, then you can go, there's always other emotions around the guilt. And sometimes those emotions are sadness, grief. Sometimes the emotion is actually compassion. Sometimes it's frustration, confusion, shame. There's so many other layers. But the good thing is if you can connect with the other feelings, there's things you can do to help yourself in regards to those other feelings. You can practice self-compassion and self-care, because if you're feeling sad, you can do something about that. Whereas if you're feeling guilty down, then there's not, you're just making the thing worse, and it just can escalate, right?
Well,
So
I like that you said that. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I love that you said that, because we talked about in the beginning of the show my experiences and what I had with Michelle, who has been my friend forever. Mm-hmm. And you're right, because after cancer, and I was burying tons of things, it's like, I'm great, right. Look at me, woo, I got a nonprofit, we're doing good, we're helping women. Meantime, right. I was burying these horrible own emotional traumas that I was having, and it came out in ways where and I try to go back to normal, hang out with Michelle, go out, drink, party, all the things we did before. And instead I'd wind up getting sick, having a panic attack, and having to go home in the middle of her having a good time, which she was fine, but it led to my guilt. And it wasn't guilt, it was frustration that I couldn't be the friend I was before. So right. Then I punished myself more and punished right. myself and punished myself, and never was really honest with her. Or anyone in my family until I yes. got help. I got help.
Right. And that's a good, thank you for sharing that, because that's a perfect example of how we beat ourselves up, right? Mm-hmm. So we're always hard on ourselves, and sometimes we're our own worst critics, where you're thinking, I'm a terrible friend, but your friend's not feeling that. So the key to this is communication. Okay. And what I recommend clients do when they're feeling, this is actually, it's your job to educate your family and friends about what your new normal is. That is your job. You have to tell them, hey, say you're done with treatment, to send an email to everybody saying, hey, I just wanted you to know I'm done with treatment. Thank goodness I'm cancer free. However, due to treatment, I still have, cognitive problems, or I have joint pain, or I have side effects from the treatment that even though I'm done with treatment, I'm still healing. I'm still in the healing process. And my doctor says it may take another 6 months to a year before I'm actually feeling maybe back to normal. So I want to let you know, this is what I'm going through. And because of this, I won't be able to go dancing every Friday, or maybe I won't be able to do the activities that I normally do with you. However, this is what I can do. So maybe with that girlfriend that you used to go dancing with, and say, well, I can't go to the club with you on Saturday. However, I would love for you to come over on Sunday and have coffee for me, and I want to hear all about it. Right?
I love that.
You can still share the joy and everything she experienced, but you don't have to feel bad that you weren't there, because you already know this is what I can do. And then let them know what you can't do, but then say, but I can do this. I can meet you for lunch, or you come over for dinner, or maybe we can go for a walk. So there's a lot of other things you can do with your friends instead of what you used to do, because physically you're still healing. And so you need to let them know that what you're struggling with, so that they can work around you. And again, even include your finances. Like if you lost your job and you can't go back to work, to say, hey, I know we used to go to the club, but financially I can't afford that anymore, but let's think of other ways we can do fun things together that are free. So you just put it out there, because I think people already know. Like, it's not like if you lost your job, your friends are going to know. So it's not like it's going to be a big surprise that you're having financial problems. So,
right.
So if I think the more honest and comfortable you are, then the more comfortable they are. We're saying, oh, I'm sorry, I thanks for letting me know that things are financially hard. Let's do this instead of, going to a concert where the tickets are $100, So I think the more transparent you are, the easier it's going to be for you, and the easier it's going to be for your friends in transitioning, because, there are certain things that you just have to go through in your healing process, and you just want to make sure you don't layer more guilt on top of everything else. Your focus should be on healing, not feeling bad because you can't do the things that you did.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the comments that are coming in. That's the only reason my head is turned from you, because Dee, who normally helps us with the comments, is not here today. So, like Laurel said, yes, I get it. She's like, tamoxifen guilt. I chose not to take tamoxifen because of how it made me feel. I felt guilty about that, because everyone's like, you should take tamoxifen. I had to make my own decision. But she's saying, the side effect of that drug is so horrific.
It is.
That people don't understand. And she feels like she's always complaining about it, but nobody really gets it, because, she looks great. So who would know? And I think you just addressed that. And Laurel, as always, you have a lot. Wonderful. She's a wonderful volunteer for us.
Let them know you're taking that medication, and those are the side effects of that medication, because people don't know. And it's very debilitating sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it is.
And people who support are not mind readers. They're definitely not mind readers.
Yeah, because they have no idea what these medication side effects are. They have no idea.
No.
So
and to Michelle's point, she had no idea. I would have saved my own self, like, tons of anxiety within our friendship, right? That she didn't even know I was having.
Right.
Hey, you know what, girl? I cannot do that anymore. Instead of trying, getting sick, freaking out, and just saying, hey, maybe instead of that, go out with your other friends, but you and I can, like you said, go for coffee tomorrow morning.
Talk about it the next day.
And talk about it, which is what we do now. And it's
love each other.
It's beautiful. It's a new dynamic to our relationship that it just morphed into something new. I can't be the party partner anymore. My body doesn't allow me to. And she's fine with it. I'm a different partner.
The beautiful thing is that maybe you can't party, but it's morphing into something that's even more beautiful and richer, right?
I love that.
Because when you go to the club, there's a lot of music. You can't really talk anyway. So now you have this quiet time where you guys, it's just the two of you. So it doesn't mean that you're lacking anything, because it can be just as rich and beautiful and rewarding and fulfilling and loving as before, even better.
So communicate is what, before we go, I'm going to kind of go to the next question. Communicate is what you're saying on this. You said did you want to give us some tools on this one?
The tool, this is for someone who's feeling really guilty. One of the tools I have, the communication one is just send the email.
Oh, love that. That was amazing.
Just send that. But I have a tool for the more therapeutic one, but that we're not, I think.
Not there yet. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if this is what we're talking about.
Yep.
And if we need to, we'll go back to that. But
okay,
anyway.
So send the email, communicate, don't waste time. Your friends, I think, Michelle, you hit it right. Michelle is what we call the support system. So I can't read your mind, boo. You look good to me. I don't know what's happening. Right. Tell me what's happening. Okay. Right. I love that. Would you be okay if I move the third question up into the next spot? Because Laurel is out there chatting with us, and she has a really good point. And Laurel, again, who is a wonderful, one of our volunteers, liaisons for Beautiful Self. Laurel, we love you. So happy you're always here and have so much to add to the conversation. And she really brings in this next question. And that is, we're going to go back to now, not guilt about how we feel about our friends, but let's talk about personal guilt. For instance, did I cause my own cancer because I was stressed out, or I used too much hair dye, or I didn't get enough my mammogram on time? And like Laurel is talking about, I stopped smoking 5 years before I got cancer. So did I do that to my own body? So I think that after cancer, we analyze every little thing and say, okay, am I going to do this again? And am I going to get cancer? So how do we address personal guilt?
That's a great question. And I think everybody has guilt where if they look back in their life, there's things they would have done differently because they know, if I had known that, I wouldn't have done that or made that decision. So definitely that's a part of life. So just realize you're not alone, and, everybody feels that. But I think when we talk about this kind of guilt, I think the underlying emotion is regret, right? We regret that we didn't take better care of ourselves. So that's really what the feeling is underneath. And when I work with clients, I want them to understand that every emotion, especially strong emotions, has an energetic component. Like it's energy running through. Like when you get angry or anxiety, what you're feeling is energy, right? It's kind of bubbling through you. And so I encourage clients to take this regret, the guilt is actually regret they're feeling, and use that emotion to propel you and motivate you to make changes in your life. So going forward, you don't have any more regrets.
I like that. I like
that too. I like that a lot.
That's like for everybody, really.
Regret, use this as a motivator for the good. You can use these strong emotions in a negative way to beat yourself up, or you can use a strong emotion by saying, hey, I regret that I didn't take good care of myself before cancer, but now going forward, I'm going to do everything I can to live healthy, because I don't want the cancer to come back. So I'm going to minimize my risk. And the beauty of doing this is that even if the cancer does come back down the line, you're not going to beat yourself up or feel guilty or regret, because you know in your heart that you did everything you could to minimize your risk. You took good care of yourself, you ate healthy, you exercised, whatever it is that you felt you needed to do. And so there's peace there. So going forward, you don't want to spend your energy feeling regret, right?
Yeah,
So,
I love that you're saying this. Kathy Grigoli is on watching. Kathy is one of our amazing tribe. We call our tribe members. She is stage 4. She's metastatic. And she says here, I struggle with this when my cancer returned, but you have to look forward because you can't change what happened in the past. And I think that's what it's what you're saying.
Right.
Move forward.
Use that energy for something positive. And use that to motivate you. Use that, strong emotions are like jet fuel, right? It's like jet fuel, and it can propel you into a new direction where it's something very positive. So take that and tweak it and make it work for you,
Okay. And now if we can, I'd like to move a little even closer to home base, which is, and that's more within our relationships, husbands, partners, children. And I think that, when we look at other subjects we've talked about, sexual dysfunction, financial strain, turning our partners into caregivers, rather, it's a heavy burden on both sides, right? Can't spend time with the kids like we used to because we're tired. And even though it's the burden on both sides, the guilt is felt on one side. Your partner doesn't feel guilty. He feels heavy, right? But we feel that. We take on everybody. I'm not there for my kids. I'm not there for my husband. How do we deal with the guilt that we feel of these things that are so close to home?
Well, we have to remember when we feel that we're a burden, you know, whether it's financially, emotionally, physically, you know, we have to remember context, which we've been talking about the last 3 weeks, and we have to put it in the context within our society. In our society, we value people who are productive. The super mom, right? The, you know, the CEO woman executive who works 60 hours a week, right? And so in this society, there's a negative opinion of people who are not productive and they're considered to be burdens. But if you take that thought and you place yourself in a different culture where there's people maybe who are disabled or the elderly who are not productive, but they're so valued in the family because they bring wisdom, they bring joy, they bring compassion, creativity, you know, they tell stories to the kids, they contribute so much more that is more valuable than money. And so I want to share a personal story where one of my aunts had a heart condition, and she was, went on permanent disability in her mid-30s. And basically, if anybody saw her from outside the family, they would think, basically what she did, she sat on the couch all day, right? Because she was disabled. Physically, she couldn't do much. And so in society would see her as basically a worthless person. But in our family, like, she was so beloved because she was the only adult for like myself, my brothers, my cousins that wasn't working. And she was the only one that was there for us when we needed someone to talk to. When we had a bad day, it was unconditional love and compassion. And we couldn't get that from our parents or our aunts and uncles because they were all working. They were tired. They had somewhere to go. And there was nobody for us. She was the only person in the family that would just sit and listen, let us sit and listen to us. And her contribution to our lives was so priceless because that's what we needed. And so her disability was such a gift to us.
I love that. So you're saying, and I really like how, because Annette, one of the things I love so much about you is you kind of just say it like it is. Like that one time we were talking about people are judging me and you're like, they are. So, you're like, you say it like it is.
Like, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I know we didn't. It was awesome. And it's what I think. So I hadn't thought of it this way before, that we are constantly being conditioned by outside sources as to what we should be and what we should look like. I should be back to my old, high-powered self in the beauty world and what I used to offer. But because I don't have kids, so what am I doing with my time? When in actuality, I was very altered through this process, and I can't go back to heavy, that kind of workload. And I felt guilty rather than focusing on what I can focus on. I just keep thinking about, how it was, again, how I was, because I felt judged. I didn't have kids. So I felt judged by my career. And without my career, I don't have an identity.
Right. So the tool in this thing is don't focus on what you can't do, focus on what you can do, right?
Yes.
Because we have that negative bias. We're always focusing, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should this. That's our negative bias. And so when you hear shoulds, just stop yourself and say, wait a minute, this is what I can do. Because when you think about it, there's like a million more things you can do than the things that you can't do.
Absolutely.
But you never think about that.
I'm thinking a lot now. I'm really right now focused on our metastatic girls, women, because they look so great. You would never know that they're stage 4, right? And a lot of them, do have kids. So for instance, they're on medicine 20, they don't stop their treatment. And that is exhausting. I did chemo for a year and a half. I can't imagine doing it forever. I give them so much credit for their power. But a lot of the things that they feel are, I am a burden because I can spend an hour or two happily with my children. but I
Right.
shouldn't feel that way, you know, and the rest I'm tired, but I shouldn't feel that way because, you know, maybe I only have 5, 10, 15, 20, like I should be in it. You know what I mean? So I think that you're right to focus on the moment that they're in rather than the moments that aren't
Right.
are such
And
a
so,
big deal.
and also when you're like at stage 4 and you need people to take care of you, so you need a lot of support, like somebody picking up the kids from school, somebody helping you, you know, you can't grocery shop, or, you know, and you know, you feel that's a heavy burden to place on other people. You know, just remember that when you feel like a burden, you cut yourself off from the love that's surrounding you, because what your family is doing for you is love in action, right? They're doing this because they love you, right? And the research has showed that people who are caretakers for somebody that has cancer is that they want to help you because it helps them feel like they're it gives them hope, and it helps them feel like they're contributing to something that's benefiting you, as opposed to being like passive and helpless. So the caregiver gets benefits from helping you too. And you know, you may not talk about it, but realize, like, if I have somebody that's sick, I'll feel better if I'm, you know, cooking for them, taking care of them, giving them comfort. That gives me purpose, right? And so if you feel like a burden, you're like, and you cut off that, no, I don't want anybody helping you. You cut off their ability to, first of all, help them, you know, provide comfort to you and show you love. Like, you're cutting yourself off from love, and so you're not giving them any outlet other than just to feel bad. So that's what happens.
That's amazing. That's really amazing, especially like with our partners, because like we
Yes.
said, we go from, you know, sexual dysfunction right over to I'm a burden.
Right.
There's no, let them love us the way that they want to love us. They're not complaining. And if they
Right.
are, sorry, but you should get out.
But even caretakers have a right to complain, and the research showed that they were tired sometimes and you know, exhausted, but they would rather feel that than have you, first of all, not there, right? Because you know, if you weren't there, then you know, they'd be devastated. So they rather feel tired than have you not there, and at least they feel that they're doing something to contribute to your wellness in your life. So from their perspective, the research shows that they don't feel that you're a burden. So I just want, so they're, you know.
I love it. Thank you. As always, you're amazing. Do you have, 'cause the half hours with you fly by so fast because you're just, I encourage anyone who's watching to please reach out to Annette. She has a wealth of information who will take care of you. Do you have anything that you want to close? As you said, there might be a therapeutic exercise before we close out.
Yes. This one is it's called Reimagining Guilt. And so this is a technique that's used in therapy. And when you're feeling guilty, this especially, you feel guilty because somebody's has passed away and you didn't. So this is more of the really deep survivor's guilt.
That's great.
What you would do is imagine that person that has passed away, imagine them in front of you, and imagine, you know, ask them, would they want you to feel tormented because they didn't survive and you did? Like, you would have this conversation with this person that passed away, and then ask the person, do they feel that you know, that they didn't deserve to die, and you know, you should have, because a lot of people feel that, oh, that person is a better person than me, and they should have lived, not me, because they're a better person. So when you deal with, you know, that deep, you know, survivor's guilt, those are the thoughts that are going on in people's heads. So in this technique, it's just imagining having a conversation and saying, hey, do you feel that you should have survived instead of me? And you know, and having that conversation with what they would say. And of course, it'd be a loving thing, right? So I think this actually brings like a lot of resolution, because when they really, if they had that conversation, they would know that person wouldn't want them to struggle and be tormented.
Thank you, because there's a lot of, within the cancer community, there is a lot of comparison that we don't even mean to have amongst ourselves. Like, wait a minute, she was a stage 2 and I was a stage 2. How did she jump to a stage 4 overnight? Now I'm in remission 5 years. Oh wait, I'm a stage 3. Oh, you went through more. I should have gone through. But like, it's all this comparison and guilt.
It is.
When we all just love each other and support each other, and we do take on each other's pain, it's part of the process. So I really thank you for that. That is a great way. I'm glad you touched upon that, because I didn't touch upon it. So thank you. Annette, we so look forward to speaking to you next week. We're kind of bouncing around, what we're going to chat about. So if anybody wants to throw any ideas down of what you'd like to chat about next week, please do. You are just a godsend to us and a blessing. And I just want everybody to reach out to you because you're so amazing and you want to help this community so much. You've said it a million times.
This is what my passion is, and this is what my experience is, and this is what my expertise is. So please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to anyone who wants to explore any of these issues, whether today or a different issue. Happy to explore it with them.
Thank you so much. And everyone, thank you for watching, and everyone that commented. We love you. We love our tribe. We love our community. And as always, Michelle, I don't know if we're on a delay, but I'm going to start. Stay strong.
Stay strong. Stay positive.
You are beautiful.
Beautiful.
All right, you guys. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks, everyone. Leave your comments and questions.